vehicle from the dealer who has always put you first. Stop the search. Call the all-new Lightweight Ford in Blackshear.
This is Sammy Dixon saying thank you. Thank you very much for your business.
Are you thinking of buying or selling your home? This is Kelly Lynn with Parker Insurance Realty, your local source for all of your real estate needs. With this being one of the most important decisions you'll make in your lifetime, I would like to use my expertise to personally assist you through this process. At Parker Insurance Realty, we offer a full range of real estate services, as well as any insurance you may need. Give me a call or stop by and let me answer any questions you have on selling your home or purchasing your new home. Call Kelly at Parker Insurance Realty, 427-9345. That's 427-9345.
Good morning. You're listening to the Big Dog, WIFO FM in Jessup. The time now, 7:59. Good morning, Butch Hubbard here with you on this Tuesday morning, the 5th day of April. Going to be a gorgeous spring day today here in southeast Georgia. Sunny today, high today near 72 degrees. The autumn barometer was at 9.8 feet and rising. It is now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by Parker Insurance and Realty on Macon Street in downtown Jessup, Jessup Premium Storage out here on the Waycross Highway, and Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear. And Bob, we got a very special guest in the studio with us this morning.
County Commissioner James Boot Thompson, the studio's with us. Asked him to come in. Like I said, didn't get a chance to go to the meeting last night due to the ball game, but we got the report on the Land Management Committee. But just really want to start with that, Commissioner. This is the issue that's being revisited. There's the difference of opinion on the board. Two commissioners have already stated publicly that their constituents not in favor of any kind of zoning whatsoever. Ralph Hickox, and you continue to push this issue. The committee formed last night. Just want to get your thoughts on, first of all, why you think this issue needs to be revisited.
Well, I've been saying this all along, Bob. I was for land use management or zoning back when we did it when, as a matter of fact, James Borkin was on board and we did it then. I do believe that it is necessary, we need it, and we're proving it each year. I think that the document was too specific last time. I think that we had things in there that turned people off. I don't believe we need to be telling people what to do with their property. But I do think that with the way things are going now, we do need to be able to control growth. We need to prepare ourselves and for the growth that's coming. With the deepening of the harbor in Savannah and the larger ships coming in. When we visited the harbor several months ago, 10,000 trucks go through there daily. With the new ships going to be coming in there, that's going to double. It's going to be 20,000 trucks coming through there. And as you see now, we can't cover everything we can't patch it with ordinance. What we had firing range, people being able to have their own firing range at home. Then we had the DuPont, wanted an ordinance for that. Now we've got coal ash. Zoning would eliminate a lot of that and be able to control some of those things. Believe me, next year's going to be something else because we're at the point of where we're accessible to 95, 75, the Golden Eye Parkway, to Brunswick, to Savannah, to Jacksonville. Industry is going to be coming in here when that port opens up to those larger ships, and we need to be ready. Savannah had a lot of foresight. They looked through the crystal ball and they said, we're going to fight. We want this here. And they did. They had a fight with South Carolina and they won. So I think you're going to see everybody in Savannah and around the area is going to blossom with growth. You have a choice.
And not only is it the Savannah port, you've also got the Brunswick port also, which is continuing to grow. If you have any questions or comments for Commissioner Boot Thomas, you can always text us at 912-427-3711. You can text a question or comment into Commissioner Boot Thomas at 912-427-3711.
As I was saying, either you can control it or you can let it control you.
Okay.
When you say it was too specific, the last,
yes,
because for people that don't know the history, again, the Land Management Committee was formed years ago.
Yes.
And they brought people from all aspects of the community.
Right.
Good, hardworking people who spent hours upon hours upon hours, meeting after meeting. And I can tell you as a reporter, those are some of the most boring meetings I've ever sat through in my life. But they worked diligently and they came up with what they thought was a good land management plan. And it never got to a vote. They gave it to the commission board. The commissioners never even put it up for a vote. And those people took it, a lot of them that I talked to took it as a slap in the face. Said, don't call me again. Don't ever ask me to be on a committee again. I mean, they just felt they were, well, they just didn't feel real good about the process at all.
And I reiterate, Bob, I was for it, and James Borkin was for it. He's a great business owner. Some things were changed before it was handed over to us, and some of the people that were on the committee, the farmers and some more people, were turned off by it. Because if a farmer has a number of acres of land, if he wants to divide that up and give it to his children, I can't tell him, and I should be able to tell him how many acres he can give to them. And, they can't get no more than 2 acres of this thing, or you consider something else. I think some things were changed that was too specific, and that's what I'm saying.
Why do you think that was done, Commissioner Thomas?
I don't know. Maybe they got it from somebody else, but I think that turned most of the farmers off, because I think the farmers were not pleased with that aspect of it and some other things. I don't want to do that. I don't do it. We need something simple. We need something that everybody can agree on, something simple that will cover. We want to cover growth in industry. If you want to give your child 2 acres or 200 acres, that's fine with me. And it should be. Because a lot of these, a lot of properties are passed down through generations. So how are you going to tell somebody that?
Right.
The question, though, you just said that everybody agrees. That's almost impossible in a situation like this. They said you already got the commissioners stating publicly on record that their constituency doesn't even want any type of zoning. So how do you overcome that?
But you talk about it. You talk about it. You present the facts. You present a document and let everybody look at it and let everybody question it, and you answer their questions. You continue to talk about it, And I'm like this. Some things that I disagree with, but I'm willing to sit down and talk to you about it. And if you can show me intelligently, your point of view, I change my mind, and I have done that. So, when I send out my emails to everybody, and there's a little hashtag at the bottom of my email, it said that your mind is like a parachute. It must be open to work. And I try to live by that daily, because a lot of times, people tell you something, so I don't want to do that. And then you think about it, it might not have been a bad idea. I just wasn't open to it right then. And so I try to keep my mind open to things. And I think if you can talk to people and intelligently explain to them and show them where they're going to benefit from it, not today, not tomorrow, but maybe 10 years from now, or maybe even next year. As things keep coming, you got DuPont, you got the coal ash. Look out. Next year's going to be something else. I guarantee it.
Now, has the commissioners through the years, do you know of, because you've been on there for a long time, have you ever looked at a county about our size in this situation who has taken a look at the land management and decided to put in some sort of zoning, and it worked, where you still protect the rights of the large landowners?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, that's what we want this community to do. And we've already contacted surrounding counties and counties that are our size that have zoning that is successful. And don't get me wrong, any document that you put in play is a living document. You're going to have to tweak it, because there's going to always be something come up you didn't think about. So we just want to put something basic in place. And then as time go on, you have situation that you would have to tweak it to get it curtailed specifically to us. So there are counties that have zoning our size that are working well, and we have we want to leave that to the committee to get those documents and look at them and see how they would fit in Wayne County, and then curtail it to us.
Now, Bob, you'd mentioned the folks that were appointed. Doesn't it seem like there's some folks in there that are rural folks who would be concerned and make sure that the folks who have large land tracts in that kind of situation are protected?
Yeah, and that's the way you do things. Like you said, we have two commissioners that's totally against it. So that's why we want them to appoint someone on that board, so that they can see what's going on and be in on it. And then if the documents and the committee don't come to a consensus that they can see it's going to benefit them and their families or their grandkids, then okay. But at least we have somebody on there from all angles that you can't say we just shoved it down their throat. And that's good. I know we got people in there that's going to be opposed to it, and that's good.
Just want to clarify, you said the two commissioners, their constituents are against it. That's what they said. So I just want to clarify.
Their constituents are against it.
And that's what they represent, their constituents. So I don't want to say they're against it. I don't think they're, I know one commissioner who's, thinks it might be a good idea, but his constituency he's telling them they don't want it. So he's representing his constituency. So anyway, how soon do you think this committee can meet? And how many times do you think they'll meet before they come up with some type of plan?
Bob,
the last process was a lengthy process.
I don't know, but I don't think it needed to be a lengthy process. I think I think the people, the committee, we got a good committee that will probably go in there and we get those documents for them and they look at it, and we're willing to, whatever it takes. We got a good small committee. We don't have a lot of people, and sometimes you have too many people on the committee, and if they need to go visit those counties and talk to those people and firsthand and see what's going on with them, we do that. So I don't think it needs to be a long, drawn-out process, but I do think we need to take time enough to make sure that we have the right document in place.
I think you're looking at protecting the current landowners out there, but also protect all the citizens of Wayne County with a good controlled growth.
Right.
So, you have these situations that have been coming up in the last several years don't happen if you have the land management or zoning, as a lot of folks call it. I know that way back in the mid to late 90s when I was involved in Leadership Wayne and chairman of the Wayne County Chamber of Commerce and involved in all that, that even back then, they said that one way for Wayne County to have the best growth possible, controlled growth, and where you protect the citizens, is some sort of zoning.
Yes.
But as you mentioned, the last time, maybe they were too specific in some of the stuff, and maybe this time there'll be more a general thing where you can protect the citizens of Wayne County, but also protect the rights of the large landowners out there.
Right. And the last thing, like when DuPont, we were looking at DuPont, I was in Atlanta at the Capitol and I was talking to the governor, and I was asking the governor, I said, well, we're faced with this problem in DuPont and we got people that don't want it there. First thing he asked me, do y'all have zoning? I said, no. He said, oh, no. Even if you sue them, I don't think it hold up. People have sued the company or took litigation against the company, but they had zoning in place to back them up. We didn't have anything, so,
And if you have zoning, when companies come in, they already know what the zoning is for that particular area, and then you come up with these problems.
Right.
If you have any questions or comments for Commissioner Luke Thomas, you can text us at 912-427-3711, 912-427-3711. You can text us with those questions or comments.
That's the big issue. You mentioned several issues have come up, the firing range, and alcohol ordinance, things like that, where the county just feels like they have no leg to stand on because there is no zoning. And so that's the issue that a lot of the commissioners see, that if you have some type of zoning, you have some type of protection. Right now, there's no protection.
And truthfully, if we had some kind of land use management or zoning in, we may not be dealing with the problem we're dealing with right now, because if you had some kind of zoning in, if you had zoned that area for a certain thing, maybe we probably wouldn't have been able to buy those 200 acres or whatever the acres is if we had a zoning in place. And that's the only way that you could have avoided that.
Well, good luck with the committee. Like I said, hopefully some progress will be made. Another topic I want to discuss, that was discussed last night, recreation.
Yes.
I don't know how you deal with social media, but apparently a lot of lies were put out there on social media with our recreation department, which is running well. Numbers are way up 27%. Numbers went from 700 to 1,000 kids involved in the recreation department for baseball and softball. All the uniforms were there, all the schedules were there on time. So I don't know why they want to continue to put out lies. Luther Smart did a good job saying, look, there's a proper protocol.
Exactly, there's a protocol, and we established that protocol, and that protocol is not being followed. I mean, if somebody have a problem, they first need to address that to the rec director, Carl, and if they don't have a satisfactory answer to that, then they need to address Administrator Luther Smart. If they're not satisfied there, then they need to address their commissioner or our board of commissioners. And somebody at one point, we should come to some kind of happy medium or some kind of agreement on what you think you've been wrong about. So, social media. I have social media, I have faith, and I guess I have all the medias because of my kids. I keep up with them because none of them live here. So I have Facebook, I have Instagram, I have Twitter, I have all that.
Man, you high tech.
Oh, listen, I got 9 grandkids. Any of your grandkids in the house over 5 can tell you how to use a smartphone and anything else. They grew up with that technology, so anytime I have
any difference.
anytime I have a problem, I call one of my grandkids. How you do this?
How do you do this? Yep.
They tell me over the phone. No problem. But I do that to keep up with my kids, and to I've been able to be in contact with a lot of people that I haven't seen some in 30 years or longer, and be able to keep up and communicate with them.
So it's like any other tool, or maybe it can be used for good, or it can be used for.
I use it for social media. First of all, I have a page on there that Wayne County Commissioner Thomas. I put information on there for the public that come. I put the agenda on there every month. You are invited. Anything that I think is pertinent to our county that we need to know, the legislation, I put it on there. Things that we do, and we go to training, and when I'm in Atlanta and I meet the governor and take a picture with him, I want to make sure my constituents know that I'm in good with the governor. I take a picture. I put my picture and the governor on there, whoever
it may be. Because you've seen several of them since you've been
I like the network, and I think that's a good thing for us. I think that's one of the reasons that I was appointed to the ACCT Board of Managers, which is an honor to me, but it's an honor for Jessup and Wayne County because we have representation, which I'm in charge. I'm the representative for 17 counties, including Wayne County. But I only put information on there. I never put my opinion on there. That's not a place for my opinion on social media. I give my opinion in a meeting that it can be recorded, and that after I've consulted my constituents and found out what their wishes or their views are, I say my opinion in a open meeting.
Okay. Well, a lot of people use social media, like a lot of folks do these days, as blogs, to be able to express themselves, to put stuff out. It makes them feel important. It gives them their 15 minutes of fame and all that kind of stuff like that. But there's no checks and balances on there on facts.
Right. And on my page, and that's why I put it there, Wayne County Commissioner Thomas. I get blogs on there, and people put their opinion on there and everything, and I read those things and I research them, and I will contact those people personally, because each person is different. Their issues are different, so I'm not going to put the agreement we came to back on there. I don't think people want their issues on there.
Right. And as you mentioned, names, if you got an opinion out there, put your names out there with that, so folks so powers to be can know who's saying that and try to solve that problem.
Right.
If you just joined us, Commissioner James Boot Thompson is with us again. Of course, the hot topic continues to be the coal ash issue. A lot's been written, lots been said about the people that were on there for the contract that was renegotiated. Y'all taking a lot of heat on that. You want to explain the contract that was renegotiated? The fact that coal ash wasn't even on the radar.
805?
Yeah, right.
Sure, I'll be glad to. Sometimes information is get out there, and it's as you're sworn in, it says sometimes you don't get the whole truth. So the contract that was negotiated in 2005, we had some experts on that board then, and we have the resident expert at the time was Joe DeWitt, who was city commissioner. That was his job. He was an environmentalist for Rainier. So if anybody knew about environment and knew EPD or EPA and EPA, it was Joe DeWitt. And we had another lady on there,
Dolores Robertson.
Right. You could get her to budge if she thought anything would be going to hurt the environment. And they had to go around and about with her, and she stuck to her guns until she was sure that it wouldn't infect the environment. So at the point of 2005, coal ash wasn't an issue. It became an issue in 2008, I believe, and there was a spill in Kingston, Tennessee, which is not too far from where I used to live in Knoxville. 40% of energy is derived from burning coal from power companies. And when they burn that coal, at the time, EPA or EPD didn't have any specific disposal of it. they would put it in retention ponds, no lining, no nothing. Just put it in the pond. That would keep down the ash and it would settle at the bottom. And that's where they would keep it. And everybody was doing it all over the country. Well, it just so happened that in '08, the dam broke at the pond, and that ran out and got into the river, to the stream, into the water. It didn't go to the ground. It wasn't rained over. The dam broke. So as a result of that, EPD and EPA went around to all the other retention ponds to make sure that the dams met specification, that wouldn't happen again. Well, as a result of that, there was some lawsuits from that. And of course, you know how long it takes lawsuits to be settled. So from '08 to 2014, finally, December 19th of 2014, EPA made the first ruling that coal ash should be put in a Subtitle D landfill, a CCR landfill, which is about the same thing. That's lined and everything, and that when it's put in there, the liners, you have a liner at the bottom.
And then you have like 10 or 12 feet of clay, packed clay below
and then
that.
you cover it up, and that way that this would never happen again. And they thought that that would be the safest way to store that so that this wouldn't happen again. And this is documentation. So nobody in '05 had a crystal ball to look far ahead to 2014 to know that EPA was going to change that. It wasn't an issue. They made a very good decision, and according to DCA put out a document. Yeah, here we go.
And once again, folks, if you have any questions or comments for Commissioner Butch Thomas, you can text us that question or comment. Text us at 912-427-3711. 912-427-3711. You can text us that question or comment. Okay.
Department of Community Affairs, which governs a lot of that stuff on the solid waste management plan, they put out this document in '06. And Georgia and surrounding counties, surrounding states. And according to DCA, Blaine County had negotiated the best contract in the state when it comes to solid waste landfill.
I've seen all documented. The $64,000 question, and I said, unfortunately, I had some computer glitch on Taster Wayne night. I talked to Bill Werkheiser and Buddy Carter. The $64,000 question is, EPA also in 2014 made a ruling that coal ash is no longer hazardous and no longer toxic. They called it a non-hazardous waste. And the question I asked both Bill Werkheiser and Buddy Carter is, why was that decision made? Who can answer that question? And no one seems to know the answer. The speculation is that a lot of money was changed hands from big lobbyists and people like that. So EPA, for some reason, decided to change the toxic and hazardous to non-toxic and non-hazardous for coal ash. And like I said, no longer can it be put in ponds. It has to be put in landfills. Well, guess who has a landfill? Ding, 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 Wayne County. So guess what? Republic is saying, bring all you want because we can make tons of money and billions of dollars. So, and the same thing's happened up at Banks County. Unfortunately, I think the tour that Mike Roberts and Jerry Shagrite had to Banks County got rained out.
Yeah, we were supposed to go up there
and reschedule that, but they got money.
And of course, they told us that they didn't unload coal ash while it's raining.
Right.
And it really came down.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, exactly.
Right. But I keep arguing to everybody, this is a federal state issue.
I keep saying
it's not a local issue. Our local politicians continue to get bashed. They continue to bash people on this contract that had no idea what coal ash was. Yeah. This issue is a federal state issue. The federal government is, I told Buddy Carter, and this was what's funny, in the interview, I said, look, I'm not even going to put you on the spot, Mr. Carter. I will say Bob Morgan is a congressman for a day in Washington, D.C. I'm going to go to the floor of Congress and I'm going to pass a bill that we can't have coal ash anywhere in the United States of America. Will that pass? He said, no, it won't pass. I said, okay, I'll change it. No coal ash in the state of Georgia. Will that pass? No, that won't pass. How about no coal ash in Wayne County? That passed? No. Why not? Oh, interstate commerce, blah, blah, blah. Exactly. Federal laws, federal rules. So we're fighting the federal government.
Exactly.
So and that's what bothers me when I see these local politicians who had no idea what coal ash was continue to get bashed about a contract.
It's unfair to us because
I mean, it's just the issue
we
is
have
the
got to
federal
continue to be
and
crushed.
state level, and the federal or state people tell me they can't help me because
Well, you know, hindsight's always 20/20.
Exactly.
You know, y'all didn't know exactly what was going on at that time.
And the $4,000 question is, why did EPA change it in 2014? And like I said, the speculation is a lot of money changed hands somewhere.
I'm willing to tell you, Bob, if that question was answered, the $64,000 question, somebody would probably be doing about 20 to 30 years behind that.
Involves lobbyists, and that's why Donald Trump's still doing well, because he doesn't use lobbyists. But I'm telling you, it's just sad that that's what we're dealing with. I mean, so how do you battle it at the federal government level? That's what I don't understand.
You got to go through legislation. That's how we got to do it, and we got to get some people.
We got to hope the Corps of Engineers, and that's what I told people. That, today's the deadline to submit comments. The Corps of Engineers was in Wayne County. They saw the overwhelming sentiment that we don't want the rail spur. So the question is, what are the odds of the Corps of Engineers doing what Wayne County wants?
Slim.
You're right. Like I said, if you're betting in Vegas, you're betting the other way.
Dealing with the Corps of Engineers, it's a federal entity. It's just like being well licensed. If they meet the requirements, if they do the wetland mitigation and whatever they want, if they meet the requirements, they can't refuse them.
All right.
If they're going there by the letter of the law and regulations,
exactly.
they can do what they want with that because
if you apply for being well licensed and you meet the qualifications, the background check and all that kind of stuff, we can't deny you. If we do,
right. No matter what the people around you may say,
actions,
what the neighbors may say, what the other folks there say, if they meet the letter of the law, they can get that beer and wine license. Right. A couple of comments that have been questions that have been put in here. Why does Wayne County not own the county landfill?
From my understanding, we never owned it. That the people who own that property, the Solid Waste Authority, negotiated with Addington Environmental at the time to purchase that property. And I think that the only thing that the Solid Waste Authority, and I may be wrong about this, they sort of went on a bond with them for that.
Right. I don't think the county wanted to spend the money on it. They found a way for a private company to do it, and still Wayne County benefited economically for the tipping fee.
And that was a good thing of the Solid Waste Authority to be able to negotiate. As I said, DCA said we negotiate the best contract in the state and surrounding. Is that we didn't have the money to do it, so if we did that, and then getting the tipping fee and what we're getting generated a considerable amount of income for us that really helped us out.
If that company, I'm sorry,
the way I understood it, we had a 10-year lease with the option to buy, and they just bought it for 10 years.
Yes.
I thought we did own the landfill. We didn't own it for 10 years.
Well, I mean, for 10 years, I think
that for 10 years
they
had the option to buy.
And of course, and one more thing, the contract was written in 2005. The contract was written by the bonding company because they wrote the contract to protect them. If they loan X number of millions of dollars, they wanted to make sure that we didn't decide next year to close the landfill and they lose their money. Just like we just negotiated the bond issue for the hospital recently that saved money. Went to New York and did that. Well, the bonding company wrote the contract.
Right. Now, I know that when I moved back to Jessup in 1992 and purchased the station, that Goose Creek landfill out 169 had just been closed up, been in use for many, many years, but because of environmental reasons, they were closed up. So Wayne County was at a decision making at that time. Do we pay to have all our trash taken and dumped in the landfill somewhere else? But at that time, the commissioners got together and decided, well, let's see what we can do here locally. And they found a way of having a landfill here, not having to pay to have it shipped out everywhere, and also make money through tipping fees. And for a long time, it worked just fine. But now we got the coal ash situation here that no one saw.
Right.
At that time, coal ash was a toxic, hazardous material, and now it's been decided not by the federal government.
Well, you know, it is hard for us and impossible to do politics in a local town. Okay, you can do that in Washington because you don't see those people that often, and they change things. But here locally, and I always say this, anytime I want to find out what my constituents want or their opinion, I have 3 polls I check.
All right, what are they?
Walmart pole, Waffle House pole, and my angry neighbor knocking on my door pole. They tell me right away, they don't want this.
All right, another question text in here too is why is there no increase in fees in the renegotiated contract? Why was it the same tipping fee for all these years that Wayne County were getting instead of increasing a little bit as each year goes by?
I can answer that
Go ahead,
question.
Bob.
I can answer that question because they continue to make money. I mean, one year they made $200,000. Next year went to $400,000. Next year went $800,000, and it went up to $1 million. They were making million. You know, they just increased every year. There wasn't no
Because it's
change.
the increase in money came to increase in volume.
But
Volume.
to that question, that's what I keep stressing, and that's what I'm hoping they do. Is Republicans said they'd like to renegotiate part of that contract. Like I said, somebody said it best at that hearings. They got the gold mine, we got the shaft. We need to get part of that gold mine. So we need to sit down. And
If it's going to come in like it's
right,
like
if
say,
we can't
they
stop
want
it from coming. We need to get all we can get. We need to renegotiate.
That,
But they didn't see any need to increase it back then because the number,
Right.
the volume of money kept increasing. It kept doubling
because
what
the
it was
volume.
at. Right.
Right.
and then they
Like I said,
make sure that they have a good mitigation plan in place, that the adequate number of wells, shallow wells, deep monitoring wells are there so that there's no danger of it spilling over like it did in Tennessee, but it's not out in the open.
But that was the advice from the Banks County Commission. If you're gonna have to deal with it, then get all you can get. Sit down and renegotiate
Exactly.
that tipping fee, and hopefully that's what
and maybe
will take place.
with the tipping fee.
Right.
And if you noticed, and it's not about money, but then again too, the last several years,
It's always about
the last several years, we have had to borrow money to finish the year out.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have enough money to actually run the county for the whole year.
I appreciate you coming in. I got to get ready to go to Thompson, Georgia.
Thompson, Georgia.
But thanks for coming. I said I wasn't able to get to the meeting last night. I appreciate you coming
Thank
in.
you for inviting me. Anytime you invite me, I'll come.
I said you're welcome anytime. I appreciate it.
You know, anytime you call me, I'll come.
Well, like I said, we've had many conversations over the years.
Yeah. As the kids say, I ain't scared.
But the good thing is about it, we've been able to agree to disagree many times. So that's what I don't see about people.
That's the way I am.
They disagree and they get upset, but I like debate. I like, everybody's not going to agree on every issue.
Right.
We've had many conversations over the past. We've been able
I'm
to
trying to tell
agree and
people,
disagree on many issues.
Don't take
in the
things
past.
personal.
Right.
We may agree on this issue and may disagree on another issue. And when you're in elected official, you have to know who's on your team. You got people on your team that's going to be for you because they don't like this particular person in that issue. They'll be for you. On the next issue, they'll be against you. You got some people on your team that's going to be against this issue because they just like to fight.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got some people on your team going to be against the issue because they're there for you, because they like you and support you. And now those people will always be there with you. The other two people, they're going to leave sooner or later. So you got to know who's on your team.
Well, if Bob's got to step out, I got a couple more questions.
Okay.
Okay. Bob, have a good safe trip out there, Thompson, Georgia. Doubleheader this afternoon.
Thanks,
You're
Bob.
starting at what time? 2:50? 2:50 pregame, first pitch, 3 o'clock doubleheader against Thompson. Very important 2 games in the region. Another question that just came in here, Commissioner Thomas, is where does Wayne County stand on the issue of DuPont surface mining? Is anything new come up? Does the Wayne County Commissioners have a stand right now? Where are we with that?
No, I mean, when the issue was settled last year, now DuPont has been bought out by
Someone else.
someone else.
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't know. I don't think.
I don't think the name of it right now. But anyway, those people are getting ready to come in and do a campaign of letting people know what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. So I think they learned a lesson from DuPont. Excuse me. And that they're going to inform the public on what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. So we're going to hold them to the letter of the contract or whatever they sign, that they do what they said it's going to do.
Okay, and I know that that's with the DuPont situation and now the situation with Republic, the coal ash situation. I think a lot of Wayne Countyans are just upset with the fact that it was like backdoored in on us. It came around, we didn't know what was going on, and suddenly there it is. We weren't informed in advance. We didn't have a chance to make any comments. We weren't educated on what the impact it would have, and good and bad. And I think that's why a lot of folks get upset about it. It just boom, there it is.
And that's something that we've learned with DuPont, and the same thing I told Republic. You guys been here for years. You should have learned from the DuPont experience. If you're going to do something, you need to first of all get out there and educate the public what you're going to do, and find out how they feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
So and I think they have learned. As you can see now, they got Facebook, they got all kind of stuff on there, letting people know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it would have been probably better if they'd have done that up front before this.
Well, a good thing that came out of this was the bill that one of our Georgia legislators, Bill Werkheiser, put in there, the fact that if anything's going to affect a county in terms of environmental situation through EPA or anything of that sort, they have to let the county know about it in advance.
Exactly.
And that's good to come out of this, because if it ever happens
Right.
again, we have to be notified in advance.
Exactly.
So something good for the entire state has come out
Right.
of what happened here in Wayne County.
As a matter of fact, the implications of that might be nationwide.
Say that?
The implications of that might be nationwide.
Okay, yeah.
Other states are adopting it.
All right. Anything else going on with the county of Wayne County that you'd like to comment this morning, Commissioner Thomas?
No, I think that we're moving along. Our county is in good shape. That we're doing the best we can. We're trying to keep our taxes down. We're trying to get industry here so that we can get people jobs. We need to get some things in place, like zoning and everything, so that when this industry come, we don't fight everybody. If we're not careful,
Mm-hmm.
nobody will want to come. And I know we got to get these things in place.
Here's a comment that just came in.
Right.
It says, ship it all to New Orleans and build up the levees. Don't think that's going to happen, because that's not aligned.
Can I do an old cliche?
Yeah.
Dream on, Alice.
That was the comment I had for Republic. They've got lots of landfills all around the country. Why not put it in the landfill somewhere where you don't have a major aquifer below it? And I think it comes down to cost of shipping more than anything else.
Well, they're in the business to make money. So
Well, like any business is.
everybody is.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, Commissioner Boot Thomas, we appreciate you coming in this morning and talking about the different things going on in the county. You're welcome back anytime. It's always to have a commissioner's input on exactly what's going on here in Wayne County.
Thank you, Butch. I appreciate you inviting me, and I enjoy coming. And a lot of times, you hear things and you see things, you read things, but I always try to tell the truth. I research everything and try to represent Wayne County in the best interest I can.
Okay. All right. World famous Butch and Bob show has been brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear, by Jessup Premium Storage out here on the Waycross Highway, and by Parker Insurance and Realty on Macon Street in downtown Jessup across from the Heritage Bay. It is 8:36 on this Tuesday morning, 5th day of April. Let's check in the latest news from Fox News Radio.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Wisconsin voters heading to the polls for their presidential primaries. Fox's Mike Tobin reports that Donald Trump is
feeling the heat. He's got problems with women voters, and